welcome back to Dan's on the way back from the cottage review session. I love this is like actually happening right now. Like I was not gonna do this, but I was kind of on a high, so I'm like, well, let's just make a video. Not that you need to be on a high to make a video, but I was just feeling it. Okay, so what do? We did traps. Now we need to do, Latissimus Dorsi. Oh, your favorite one with only one origin, right? It's perfect. Origin is, write it down. By the way, if I'm not at school on Thursday, it's because I died making this video. Just putting it out there. That's what happened. Alright, origin. Iliac crest. Right? Okay. Thoracolumbar fascia. Remember that connective tissue in the low back? So thoracic spine, right? In that low back we had this thick connective tissue. So thoraco, think thoracic. Again, we haven't talked about this area, but remember thoracic is like the middle of the back. So that's thoraco. And then lumbar is our low back, right? So thoracolumbar fascia, that thickening. Kind of like, what did it start with, the A? I think Karen had a cool way of remember this. Remember the A was like, she said anchor, so it anchors it down. If you want to use that's cool. You can think A, anchor. Okay, so aponeurosis was kind of like the similar idea. It was a broad-sheeted tendon, but specifically this one is called the thoracolumbar fascia. Okay, so iliac crest, thoracolumbar fascia, lower 3 to 4 ribs. Okay, as well as the spinous processes of the inferior 6 vertebrae in the thoracic spine. So 7 to 12. Remember, there's 12 thoracic, so 7, 8, 9 to 11, 12. Those spinous processes. So nice small origin site. Inserting into what? Inserting into the floor of the intertubercular groove. Okay, so inserting into the floor of the intertubercular groove. So what actions is this going to do? Remember, this is going to go through the armpit too, right? Kind of a weird direction. Remember, this one did that direction where I was showing you how it rotated? Oh, foreshadow. What does it do? Not what I just said. Okay, so it does, what, 3 motions? Right, so as I just said, it's a rotation, right? Rotation. Which rotation? It's going to do internal, right? It's going to pull the arm internally and do internal rotation. Again, think of the string and all the different planes. What actions is it going to do? It's going to do 3 different actions. This one's unique in that sense. Okay, so, a light. I can look at you. Internal rotation, okay? And it's also going to do what? Flexion or extension of the glenohumeral joint or the shoulder. Right, extension, right? It's going to literally pull that arm and extend it back and extend, right? Okay, and then what else? AD or abduction? It's going to adduct, so pull. It's going to pull that arm closer to the body, right? It's going to adduct, pull you back in. I can't look at the camera because I want to see myself. Okay, so it's going to adduct. Okay, so internal rotation, adduction, and extension are 3 motions of the latissimus dorsi. Remember, the latissimus dorsi was our swimmer's muscle, right? And we're back to the road. Okay, so this is the muscle that if you just go into like a front crawl motion, put your hand in front of you, that motion where you pull and extend, right? Like you're pulling your arm back when you're swimming. Your arm, notice you're in internal rotation, your palm is down towards the ground, right? You're extending, you're in a flexed position with your arm in front of you, but the motion is you're going into extension, right? And then you're also adducted, so your arm's not way out to your side, abducted, it's somewhat beside your body, right? So those are the 3 motions of latissimus dorsi. Oh, speaking fast. Okay, hope you got that. Now we have you guys on, I'll just keep going here, keep rocking. You guys on, oh, hello, okay, back. What did we have left? Then, we did levator scapula. So the next muscle, so levator scapula. So you can think, this muscle is, what does levator sound like? Or levate, kind of like elevate, right? So levator scapula elevates the scapula. Easy enough, right? Scapulae, sometimes it's scap and then ULA. Sometimes they add an E in Latin, just if you see that like in the notes, that's what it means. Same thing. So levator scapula. Okay, so it's going to elevate the scapula. If the origin is at the neck, this is where it inserts. It originates on the neck. Okay, we'll get to that in a second, but just in terms of discussing again origin versus insertion, some people do again talk about origin versus insertion. Other people just say attachment sites. But again, remember that when we're talking about origin insertion, usually the insertion is the more movable bone. So in the example, again, like our bicep, right, starting in the shoulder kind of area, right? Oh, just past a cop. You gave me a look. Okay, my camera's low enough. We're good. That's funny. That would have been hilarious. I totally would have kept the camera rolling and just like had a moment with you guys with the cop. Maybe if I had enough guts. I don't know if I would have done that. Okay. Anyway, okay, where was I? Oh yeah, so bicep. So it's going to insert into the lower arm, right? Like the forearm, right? So from that motion, it's going to do flexion, right? But that's the movable part. It's going to move that forearm. When you do a bicep curl, you don't move your shoulder really, right? You move the lower arm. That's the insertion, origin of the shoulder. So going back to the levator scapula, well, let's just do the attachments first. It's going to make more sense. So it's going to insert technically into the superior angle of the scapula. Okay, so remember that superior angle, that point, as a flashback or confirmation for that angle, was having our hand on the superior angle where we thought it was and pushing the scapula superiorly. So we were feeling for that bone push into our hands. Okay, that was the confirmation for that. So you find the superior angle. Again, with this one, we're not confirming the bone, we're confirming the muscle. So get as close as you can, right? Do your trail to there. And then the origin site is going to be the transverse processes of the cervical 1 to 4 spinous processes. Okay, I'll say that again. So the origin site is going to be the transverse processes of the cervical vertebrae 1 to 4. In particular, you guys don't need to say this, but in particular, it's off that posterior tubercle of the transverse process. We haven't went into huge detail yet with the spine, but there's a transverse process, which is the bumps off the side that we felt with cervical 1. We did that as a pelp. So specifically, there's 2 little tubercles or bumps off. There's one anterior, one posterior in the cervical. So it's off the posterior one. You don't need to say that. You just need to say that it goes off the transverse processes of the cervical vertebrae 1 to 4. That's really all you need to state. Okay? So that's the origin site. So again, if we think about motion, this one's a bit unique, right? Because which one's more mobile, the neck or the scapula? It's like waiting for participation that I won't hear. It's kind of weird making a video and like not getting feedback like teaching. Okay. So yeah, so it depends which one's moving, right? Yeah, so if you take the origin site as the scapula's not moving, then it's going to affect the neck, right? So the insertion's going to be that 1 to 4 transverse processes. In that case, if it inserts into there, think of it like a string. Imagine a string from your neck to your scapula. If that string shortens and the scapula's not moving, what's it going to do to your neck? I'm not mimicking it or I will die. Okay? But do it at home. Okay, so it's going to do, here, I'll do a little bit. Extension, so it's going to pull you back like this, posteriorly. And then also, it's on this side. If I'm looking at this levator scap on my right side, whatever you guys can see. So on this side, right, over here. So if it's on that side, it's going to do right rotation, right, and extension. So those are the 2 motions it does in the neck if the scapula is not moving. Okay? So you're shortening the muscle by doing that. If the neck isn't moving and you're just sitting or laying down or whatever, and the scapula is going to be the one moving, in that case, you could say that's the insertion. In that case, it's also going to do some elevation, right? If it shortens, it's going to pull the scapula superiorly up to the neck. Okay? In this class, like in our class, guys, we're going to do the origin site. And this is, again, we're doing this because this is what Moores says it is. Okay? So we're going to say the origin is at the transverse processes. Okay? Inserting into that superior angle of the scapula. Something to note is that the superior angle, in your notes, it talks about, and Moore talks about saying the root, or it says the medial border of the scapula superior to the root of the spine of the scapula. So if you look in Visual Body, look in Moore's, what you're going to see is levator scapula inserting into the point kind of medial border / superior angle. That's why they're saying that. For our purposes, you can say superior angle. If you want to say the full thing again, the medial border of the scapula, just superior of the root of the spine. Root of the spine just means like where the spine hits the medial border. So it's like, they're trying to say the root, like the start of it, of the spine, if you're going from the back all the way to the acromion. So the root of the spine of the scapula. Okay, there you go. So you can do this as seated for confirmation wise. I forget what we do in our class technically. But yeah, you could do, if you did seated, you always want to shorten the muscle, right? So because this one's kind of unique, you're going to do the actions at the neck, so extension, rotation, and then the action at the scapula is going to be that elevation motion. So same conformation, like resistance, as the upper trapezius. So same as the upper trapezius. So your hand on their shoulder, match the resistance. Again, you feel that levator scap push into your hands. Make sure your hand's on the levator scap though, so it's different than the traps in that sense, right, where your hand is. So you feel the muscle contract as you're staying that, so like, you want to actually like have your hand on it, right? Yeah, so that's what you're gonna say. And I'm at like 11 minutes here, so I'm gonna stop it and move on. This is really fun. I haven't died yet. Let's look at this person. Look at, maybe in Waterloo. Okay, so where are we at here? Elevator scap. Okay, I'll stop in a second. Let me just make sure we're good. Let's see also anything I wanted to say there. Is that it? Is that it? Yeah, I think that's it. Elevator scap. Oh, okay, yeah, one thing. So in seated, you could do extension and rotation, resisting at the shoulder again. So you have them in that extended rotated, but you resist your shoulder. Or, oh, this is what your notes say actually. Or you could do it in prone. You could be on the table, head in the headrest. Pillow's the normal spot in prone. And then you have them, again, do the neck position, resisting that elevation. So you put them in that, basically they put their headrest like turned to the side in prone. Okay, and then in that motion, what they're gonna do is slightly just lift their head out of the cradle. So you'll ask them to very slightly, I'm gonna ask you to lift your head out of the cradle. Okay, and then in that position, then you resist their shoulder. Again, having your hand on the levator scap. We'll show you next week, but yeah, that's the motion for that, okay? And then resisting at the shoulder, they're trying to do elevation. Okay? Cool, cool? Clear as mud? All right, I think I'm gonna stop now. See you guys.